Greetings everyone, my name is G-Rod and this is Let's Build, wherein I build a Lego set, time to different media, and talk about the facts concerning the topic of the build. How many levels of a game will it take to complete the set? To find out, let's build. Today's build is the Lego Super Mario 64 question block versus Super Mario 64. I will not be playing any of the soundtrack for this game for copyright reasons. The footage I captured from playing the game is for science and educational purposes. There will be a lot of plot spoilers for this classic 1996 game, so you have been warned. Starting off with the LEGO specifications. Rekindle fond memories as you build, display, and play with LEGO Super Mario 64 question mark block. 25 years from the launch of the Super Mario 64 video game, this set features a brick-built question mark block that opens to reveal instantly recognizable levels from the game. Peach's Castle, Bob Battlefield, Cool Cool Mountain, and Lethal Lava Trouble. There are also 10 micro-figures of the iconic characters to place in the detailed scenes. A delightful gift for any Super Mario fan, this set comes with step-by-step building instructions. For interactive play, add a Lego Mario or Lego Luigi figure from the starter courses, and collect 10 hidden power stars to reveal secret reactions and more. The Lego Super Mario range includes starter courses, expansion sets, and power-up packs, allowing builders to expand, rebuild, and create unique levels. Pay tribute to the classic Super Mario 64 video game in LEGO style with this brick-built version of the question mark block for display and interactive play. It includes 10 LEGO Super Mario micro figures, Mario Yoshi, Princess Peach, King Bob, as well as Chain Chomp, Big Bully, Mr. I, Lakitu, Penguin, and Baby Penguin. The question mark block features in over 7 inches high, wide, and deep, and opens to reveal 4 detailed Super Mario 64 levels: Peach's Castle, Bob Battlefield, Cool Cool Mountain, and Lethal Lava Trouble. For interactive play, add the Lego Mario or Lego Luigi figure from the starter courses and collect the 10 hidden power stars to reveal secret reactions and more. This collectible 2064-piece Lego building set makes a cool birthday gift, holiday gift, or surprise treat for fans of Super Mario 64 and any gaming fan and lovers of all things retro. Step-by-step instructions are included with this set, so even a LEGO Super Mario fan who is a newcomer to LEGO sets can build with confidence and enjoy the process. From the manual, ciao Super Mario fan, you have just accessed a real-life version of one of your favorite video games via a LEGO time warp pipe. When Super Mario 64 was released in 1996, it brought everyone's favorite Mario to all new levels of Bowser bashing fun, this time in 3D. The new Nintendo 64 home console, new analog stick controller, new open-world game levels, and breakthrough computer graphics technology earned this game a legendary place in gaming history books and in hearts of fans all over the world. Now, 25 years later, it is still one of the best-selling, most beloved console games of all time. That's a legacy worth celebrating. It's a message from the LEGO Super Mario 64 question mark block designers. As fans of the game, we wanted to capture the immersive play experience of Super Mario 64 in this model. The question mark block was a perfect opportunity to create a unique combination of nostalgic game possibilities and surprising functions in the 3D landscapes. We hope you'll love the digital and detailed interactions and the essence of this classic game, from the soundscapes in each level to finding hidden red coins and earning stars. It's a model full of discovery and secrets. Get ready to build, play, and restore the power of the Power Stars to Peach's castle. Should I do the voice? I'll give it a go. Here we go! From Dare, Pablo, Benjamin, Anthony, and Carl, the LEGO Super Mario 64 question block designers. Here's a tip. Remove the drawbridge and the front of the castle to discover some hidden secrets. Did you know that the question mark block, an iconic staple of the Super Mario series, didn't actually appear in Super Mario 64? Instead, Mario receives specific power-ups from red, blue, and green blocks that are activated by triggering the corresponding exclamation point switches. Red for Winged Mario, blue for Vanish Mario, and green for Metal Mario. The powers from these blocks help Mario navigate the Mushroom Kingdom. However, with question mark blocks, you never know what you'll find inside, and that's what makes them question mark blocks. Have fun exploring and building this world. There are secrets and surprises waiting for you. From the game, Super Mario 64 is a 1996 platform game developed and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo 64. It was released in Japan and North America in 1996 and PAL regions in 1997. It is the first Super Mario game to feature 3D gameplay, combining traditional Super Mario gameplay, visual style, and characters in a large open world. In the game, Bowser, the primary antagonist of Super Mario franchise, invades Princess Peach's castle and hides the castle's sources of protection, the Power Stars, in many different worlds inside magical paintings. As Mario, the player collects Power Stars to unlock enough of Princess Peach's castle to get to Bowser and rescue Princess Peach. Director Shigeru Miyamoto conceived a 3D Super Mario game during the production of Star Fox from '93. Development lasted nearly 3 years, about 1 year on design and 20 months on production, starting with designing the virtual camera system. The team continued with illustrating the 3D character models, at the time a relatively unattempted task, and refining the sprite movements. The sound effects were recorded by Yoji Inagaki, and the score was composed by Koji Kondo. Super Mario 64 was highly anticipated by video game journalists and audiences, boosted by advertising campaigns and showings at the 1996 E3 trade show. It received critical acclaim, with reviewers praising its ambition, visuals, level design, and gameplay, though some criticized its virtual camera system. It is the best-selling Nintendo 64 game, with nearly 12 million copies sold by 2015. Retrospectively, Super Mario 64 has been considered one of the greatest video games of all time. Numerous developers have cited it as an influence on 3D platform games, with its dynamic camera system and 360-degree analog control establishing a new archetype for the game, much as Super Mario Bros. Did for the side-scrolling platform games. It was remade as Super Mario 64 DS for the Nintendo DS in 2004 and has been ported to other Nintendo consoles since. The game has attracted a cult following, spawning many fan games and mods, a large speedrunning presence, and enduring rumors surrounding game features. Super Mario 64 is a 3D platformer in which the player controls the titular character Mario through various courses. Mario's abilities are far more diverse than in previous games. He can walk, run, jump, crouch, crawl, climb, swim, kick, grab objects, and punch using the game's controller analog stick and buttons. He can execute special jumps by combining a regular jump with other actions, including the double and triple jumps, long jump, backflip, and wall jump. The player can adjust the camera, operated by a Lakitu broadcasting Mario, and toggle between first-person and third-person view. Unlike many of its predecessors, Mario 64 uses a health point system, represented by a pie shape consisting of 8 segments. If Mario has taken damage, he can replenish his health either by collecting 3 types of coins: yellow, which is 1 segment, red equal to 2 yellow coins, blue, and blue equal to 5 yellow coins, or by walking through a spinning heart. Underwater, Mario's health instead represents how long he can hold his breath, slowly diminishing while underwater and replenishing when he surfaces. Finishing a course grants Mario an extra life for every 50 yellow coins the player collected, and an extra life mushrooms are hidden in various places, such as trees, and may chase Mario through the air or fall onto the ground and disappear shortly if not collected. In absence of the power-ups normally found in previous games, such as the Super Mushroom and Fire Flower, 3 colors of translucent blocks, red, green, and blue, appear throughout many stages. 3 switches of the same colors, can be found in secret areas that turn their corresponding blocks solid and may allow Mario to obtain 3 types of special cap power-ups. The wing cap allows Mario to fly after doing a triple jump or being shot from a cannon. The metal cap makes him immune to enemies, fire, noxious gases, allows him to withstand wind and water currents, perform on-land moves underwater, and have unlimited air capacity underwater. And the yellow vanish cap renders him partially immaterial and invulnerable, and allows him to walk through some obstacles. A shell remains after stomping a Koopa Troopa, which Mario can use to surf on water, lava, and quicksand. The hub world takes place in Princess Peach's castle, which consists of 3 floors, a tower, and a basement, plus a moat and courtyard outside the castle. The player's main objective is to look for paintings that, when jumped into, bring them into courses containing the Power Stars, which upon their collection unlock more of the castle hub world. Each of the 15 courses has 7 Power Stars, and an additional 15 are hidden as secrets and bonuses for a total of 120 Power Stars in the game. The courses are filled with enemies as well as friendly creatures that provide assistance or ask favors, such as the Bob Buddies, who allow Mario to access cannons on request. Some Power Stars only appear after completing certain tasks, often hinted at by the name of the course. These challenges include collecting 100 yellow coins or 8 red coins in a stage, defeating a boss, racing an opponent, and solving puzzles. The final level of the game is blocked by an endless stairs, similar to the Penrose stairs concept, but Mario can bypass them by collecting 70 Power Stars. The music in the endless stairs before collecting 70 Power Stars resembles a Shepherd scale. There are many hidden mini-courses and other secrets within the castle, which may contain extra Power Stars required for the full completion of the game. If the player returns to the game after collecting all of the 120 Power Stars, Yoshi can be found on the roof of Princess Peach's castle, who will give the player a message from the developers, accompanied by 100 extra lives and an improved triple jump. The plot of the game: Princess Peach uses a letter to invite Mario to come over to her castle for a cake that she has baked for him. When he arrives, Mario discovers that Bowser has invaded the castle and imprisoned the princess and her servants within its walls, using the power of the castle's 120 Power Stars. The Power Stars are hidden in the castle's paintings, which serve as portals to other worlds where Bowser's minions can keep watch over the stars. Mario explores the castle and enters these worlds, gaining access to more rooms as he recovers more stars. Mario unlocks 2 doors to different floors of the castle with keys obtained by defeating Bowser in hidden worlds. After getting at least 70 of the 120 stars, Mario breaks the curse of the endless stairs that block the entrance to Bowser's final hiding place. After Mario defeats Bowser in the final battle, and Bowser escapes, swearing revenge, he obtains a special power star which gives him the wing cap and he flies back to the castle's courtyard. Peach is released from the stained glass window above the castle's entrance, and she rewards Mario by kissing him on the nose and baking the cake that she had promised him. In the early 90s, Super Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto conceived a 3D Mario design while developing the game Star Fox for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Star Fox used the Super FX graphics chip, which added more processing power. Miyamoto considered using the chip to develop a Super NES game, Super Mario FX, with gameplay based on an entire world in miniature, like miniature trains. According to the engineer, Dylan Cuthbert, who worked on Star Fox, Super Mario FX was never the title of the game, but a codename of the Super FX chip itself. Miyamoto reformulated the idea for the Nintendo 64, not for its greater power, but because its controller had more buttons for gameplay. At the January 1993 Consumer Electronics Show, or CES, where Star Fox made its debut, Nintendo's booth demonstrated a talking 3D polygon animation of Mario's head, and that head returned in the start of the screen, programmed by Giles Goddard. Production of Super Mario 64 began on September 7, 1994 at Nintendo's Entertainment Analysis and Development Division and concluded on May 20, 1996. According to Miyamoto, the development team consisted of around 15 to 20 people. Development began with the characters and the camera system. Months were spent selecting a view and a layout. The original concept involved the fixed path of an isometric game such as Super Mario RPG, which moved into a free-roaming 3D design with some linear paths, particularly to coerce the player into Bowser's lair, according to Giles Goddard. Mario 64 is one of the first games for which Nintendo produced its illustrations internally instead of by outsourcing. The graphics were made using N-World, a Silicon Graphics CGI-based toolkit. The development team prioritized Mario's movement and, before levels were created, tested and refined Mario's animations on a simple grid. The 3D illustrations were created by Shigefumi Hino, Hisashi Nagomi, Hidaiki Fuji, Tomoaki Karumi, and Yusuke Nakano. Sorry for butchering your names. And the game was animated by co-director Yoshiaki Koizumi and Satoru Takiwaza. Yoichi Kotabe, illustrator and character designer for the Mario series, made a 3D drawing of Mario from various angles and directed the creation of the character models. In an interview with the Washington Post, Koizumi recalled that his challenge was animating the 3D models without any precedents. To assist players with depth perception, the team positioned a faux shadow directly beneath each object regardless of the area's lighting. Koizumi described the feature as an ironclad necessity, which might not be realistic, but it's much easier to play. Miyamoto's guiding design philosophy was to include more details than earlier games by using the Nintendo 64's power to feature all the emotions of the characters. He likened the game's style to a 3D interactive cartoon. Some details were inspired by the developers' personal lives. For example, the boos are based on assistant director Tezuka's wife, who, as Miyamoto explained, is very quiet normally, but one day she exploded, maddened by all the time Tezuka spent at work. Super Mario 64 was first run on a CGI Onyx simulator, which only emulated the console's application programming interface and not its hardware. The first test scenario for controls and physics involved Mario interacting with a golden rabbit named Mips, after the Nintendo 64's MIPS architecture processors. The rabbit was included in the final game as a Power Star holder. Mario 64 features more puzzles than the earlier Mario games. It was developed simultaneously with The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, but as Ocarina of Time was released more than 2 years later, some puzzles were taken for Super Mario 64. The developers tried to include a multiplayer cooperative mode whereby players could control Mario and his brother Luigi in split screen. Nevertheless, hardware constraints and the developers' inability to implement the mode satisfactorily led it to its removal. The music was composed by veteran composer Koji Kondo, who created new interpretations of the familiar melodies from earlier media as well as new material. Yoji Inagaki was responsible for the sound design, tasked with producing hundreds of sound effects. He and Kondo felt that music and sound effects were equally important. According to Inagaki, the average Nintendo 64 game had about 500 sound effects, and made comparisons to Ocarina of Time with 1,200 and The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask with 2,000. Super Mario 64 is one of the first games to feature Charles Martinet as the voice of Mario and Leslie Swan, the senior editor of Nintendo Power and English localizer for Nintendo's Super Mario 64, as the voice of Princess Peach. Super Mario 64 was first shown as a playable prototype in November 1995 at Nintendo Space World. This version was only 50% complete, and only about 2% of texture mapping was finished. It featured 32 courses. Miyamoto had hoped to create more, possibly up to 40, but was ultimately reduced to 15. According to Nintendo of America chairman Howard Lincoln, Miyamoto's desire to add more was a major factor in the decision to delay the Nintendo 64 release from Christmas 1995 to summer of 1996. Nintendo president Hiroshi Yamauchi later said, "Game creators can finish games quickly if they compromise, but users have sharp eyes. They soon know if the games are compromised." Miyamoto asked for 2 more months and I gave them to him unconditionally. The game was later shown at E3 '96 with multiple Nintendo 64s set up for people to play. According to Giles Goddard, the stress of the project caused some programmers to quit or move to different departments. Peter Main, Nintendo's vice president of marketing at the time, stated Super Mario 64 was officially released in Japan June '96, North America in September, and in Europe and Australia March of 1997. During its first 3 months of sale in North America, it sold more than 2 million copies and grossed $140 million in the United States, becoming the best-selling video game of 1996. It was also the best-selling game overall from 1995 to 2002. During the first 3 months of '97, it was the second best-selling console game at 523,000 units, By early 2001, it had sold 5.5 million units and 5.9 million units by September of 2002. At the 1999 Melia Festival in Cannes, Super Mario 64 won a gold ECCSELL prize for earning revenues above 21 million euro in the European Union in 1998. I don't think... Hang on. So I just had to do a little sidebar conversion real quick, because I was pretty sure that the French franc was still the monetary currency in France at that time. However, it does appear that between 1998 and 2002, the French were converting their currency into euro. So it could still mean the euro, but it might also be referring to francs for the 21 million. Okay. And this was also in 1998 that this happened. So it would be the very beginning of the euro conversion. Anyhow, it had become the second most popular game on Wii's Virtual Console by June of 2007, behind Super Mario Bros. Or Super Mario Bros. By March 2008, Super Mario 64 sold 11.8 million copies worldwide, being the best-selling Nintendo game for the 64. By 2015, Super Mario 64 was the 12th most sold Mario game, with 11.91 million copies sold. The Super Mario 64 DS was an enhanced remake, Super Mario 4, for the Nintendo DS in 2004. As with the original, the plot centers around collecting the Power Stars and rescuing Princess Peach from Bowser. In contrast with the original, Yoshi is the starting character, with Mario, Luigi, and Wario as unlockable characters. It features improved graphics, slightly altered courses, new areas, power-ups, and enemies, more Power Stars to collect, touchscreen minigames, and a multiplayer mode. Reviews were mostly positive, with critics praising the graphics and add-ons to the original game, but criticized the controls and multiplayer mode. By September of 2021, 11.6 million copies had been sold worldwide. Mario 64 received enthusiastic pre-release reception. GamePro commented on the 1995's prototype smoothness and how the action was a blast, despite the game being only 50% complete at the time. Ed Semrad of the Electronic Gaming Monthly agreed, praising the new 3D animation of Mario characters shown in only 2D before. Larry Marcus, a source analyst for Alex Brown and Sons, recalls Super Mario 64 being the most anticipated game of E3 in 1996, remembering a field of teenagers jostling for a test run. Mario 64 received critical acclaim, and with a score of 94 out of 100 from review aggregator Metacritic, based on 13 reviews, and a score of 96 from the review aggregator Game Rankings, which ranked it the 18th best video game of all time based on 22 reviews. The design, variety of controls, and use of 3D gameplay received praise from video game publications. Maximum, not Maxim, different magazines, different crowds, found its strongest points were the sense of freedom and its replayability, comparing it to Super Mario World and citing its similar gimmick of allowing access to new areas upon finding switches. One of the Game Fan's 4 reviewers, E. Storm, cited the water levels as overjoying and showed how Super Mario 64 delved into an entirely new realm of gaming. Official Nintendo magazine called it beautiful in both looks and design. Doug Perry of IGN agreed that it transitioned the series to 3D perfectly. Electronic Gaming Monthly discussed the levels in their initial review, praising them for their size and challenge, and later ranked it the fourth best console game of all time, arguing that it had breached the entire genre of 3D gaming while working virtually flawlessly. Unlike my speaking today. Computer and video games editor Paul Davies praised the 3D environment and said that it enhanced the interaction and described the control scheme as intuitive and versatile. Total, with the exclamation point, hailed the gameplay as being so imaginative and having such variety that their reviewers would still be hooked even after a month. Writing for Allgame, John T. Davies commented that the diversity of the gameplay and the abundance of activities found in each course. Nintendo Life's Corby Dillard agreed, calling the variety the game's greatest genius. Writing for Game Revolution, Radakovic, sorry if I said your name wrong, described Super Mario 64 as one of the few true 3D platform games. N64 magazine likened it to an enormous playground with which was a pleasure to experiment in, but opined that the exploration element was slightly brought down by how many hints and tips there were. Victor Lucas of EP Daily agreed, praising the freedom but suggesting players skip reading all the signposts. Super Mario 64 also received praise for its graphics. GameSpot praised the graphics for being clean yet simple and not detracting from the details of the game world. GamePro particularly praised the combination of unprecedented technical performance and art design, calling it the most visually impressive game of all time. Paul Davies described the graphics as so amazing to see, you find yourself stopping to admire them. John T. Davies called the visuals phenomenal and the frame rate respectable. Doug Perry found the graphics simple but magnificent, a sentiment shared by Next Generation. Hyper reviewer Nino, I am not going to say your last name right, I do apologize. Alageropoulos, that's not right at all, I'm sorry, called it the best-looking console game to date and opined its high resolution and frame rate for the time that it made it look infinitely better than a cartoon. Total said that the graphics' lack of pixelation and jagged edges made it look like they were from a top-of-the-range graphics workstation. The camera system received mixed reviews. Next Generation found that Super Mario 64 was less accessible than previous Mario games, frustrated by the camera's occasional erratic movements and lack of optimal angle. Radakovic and Doug Perry added that the camera was sometimes blocked by or went through objects. Electronic Gaming Monthly's Dan Hsu, Sean Smith, and Crispin Boyer all removed half a point from their scores, claiming that the camera sometimes could not move to a wanted angle or rapidly shifted in an undesirable manner, a criticism that returned in Electronic Gaming Monthly's 100 Best Games of All Time list. Game Informer stated that in their 2007 re-review by present-day standards, the camera would almost be considered broken. Nintendo Power also noted that the learning curve of the shifting camera. In contrast, Corby Dillard claimed that the camera did not have any problems and that it succeeded at helping the player traverse complex environments. This sentiment was shared by Total, claiming that there were very few occasions where the camera was at a suboptimal angle. Paul Davies acknowledged that he was critical of the camera, saying that in some occasions it was difficult to position ideally,
but ultimately dismissed it as one hiccup for a revolutionary game. Mario 64 won numerous awards, including various Game of the Year honors by members of the gaming media and in Nintendo's own best-selling Player's Choice selection. It has been placed high on the greatest games of all time lists by many reviewers, including IGN, Game Informer, Edge, Official Nintendo Magazine, Electronic Gaming Monthly, and Nintendo Power. Electronic Gaming Monthly awarded it a Gold Award in its initial review, and it won the magazine's Game of the Year for both Editor's Pick and Reader's Pick, and Nintendo 64 Game of the Year, Adventure Game of the Year, and Best Graphics. At the 1997 Computer Game Developers Conference, it was given Spotlight Awards for Best Use of Innovative Technology, Best Console Game, and Best Game of 1996. Maximum gave it a Maximum Game of the Month award before its international release, ranking it the greatest game of the magazine had ever reviewed. Digitizer ranked it the best game of 1997 above Final Fantasy as a runner-up. Sorry, that's Final Fantasy VII. Mario 64 was key to the early success and anticipation for the Nintendo 64. Lee Hutchinson, a former Babbage's employee. Thought that said baggage. My dyslexia is kicking in, sorry. Notes how the game was spurred by a feverish video game press and how the success of the game defied the rule that a wide variety of launch games was necessary for broad appeal. Eventually, the Nintendo 64 lost much of its market share to Sony's PlayStation, partly due to its cartridge and controller design decisions, which were reportedly implemented by Miyamoto for Super Mario 64. In 2012, Super Mario 64 was among the 80 entries in the Smithsonian American Art Museum's The Art of Video Games exhibit. Mario 64 set many precedences for 3D platformers, as well as of the most influential video games. The game is known for its non-linear, open freedom, which has been acclaimed by video game developers and journalists. OneUp.com wrote that its central hub world, which provides a safe tutorial and level selector, and is now a staple of the 3D platformer genre. As genre evolved, many of the series' conventions were rethought drastically, placing emphasis on exploration over traditional platform jumping or hop and bop action. Though some disputed its quality, others argued that it established an entirely new genre for the series. Its mission-based level design inspired game developers and designers such as the ones for GoldenEye 007 for 1997, producer and director Martin Hollis, and the development team of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Dan Houser, a prominent figure in the development of the Grand Theft Auto series, stated, "Anyone who makes 3D games who says they've not borrowed something from Mario or Zelda of the Nintendo 64 is lying." Square Enix has stated that a coincidental meeting with Disney employees resulted in the creation of the Kingdom Hearts series, inspired by Super Mario 64's use of 3D environments and exploration. Chris Sutherland, who served as the lead designer for Banjo-Kazooie, agreed that Super Mario 64 set the benchmark for 3D platformers and acclaimed that any other game in the genre on the Nintendo 64 would inevitably be compared with Super Mario 64. Mario 64 introduced a free-floating camera that can be controlled independently of the character. To increase freedom of exploration and fluid control in a 3D world, Mario 64 designers created a dynamic virtual video camera that turns and accelerates according to the character's actions. This camera system became the standard for 3D platformers. Nintendo Power praised the game's camera movements along with the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time's addition of the lock-on camera and concluded that the two games were trailblazers for the 3D era. PC Magazine's K. Thor Jensen considers Super Mario 64 to be the first truly realized 3D platformer with the integration of camera control into its core gameplay, which he called the medium's true evolutionary leap. Mario 64's use of the analog stick was novel, offering more precise and wide-ranging character movements than the digital D-pads of other consoles. At the time, 3D games were generally allowed the player to either control the character in relation to a fixed camera angle or in relation to the character's perspective. Mario 64's controls, in contrast, were fully analog and interpret a 360-degree range of motion into navigation through a 3D space relative to the camera. The analog stick allows for precise control over subtleties such as running speed. In 2005, Electronic Gaming Monthly ranked Super Mario 64 the most important game since they began publication in 1989, stating that, while there were 3D games before it, Nintendo's was the first to get the control scheme right. In July of 2021, a pristine sealed copy of Super Mario 64 was auctioned for $1,560,000, the largest amount ever paid for a video game. Heritage Auctions video games specialist said, "It seems impossible to overstate the importance of this title, not only to the history of Mario and Nintendo, but to video games as a whole." A sequel was planned for the disk drive add-on under the codename Super Mario 128. In July of 1996, Nintendo insiders stated that Miyamoto was assembling a team consisting mostly of developers who had worked on Super Mario 64. Miyamoto confirmed that work on the sequel had only commenced at the time of the E3 '97 convention. The project was cancelled due to its lack of progress and the commercial failure of the Nintendo 64 disk drive. Super Mario 64 successors include Super Mario Sunshine for the GameCube and Super Mario Galaxy for the Wii, building on its core design of power-ups and its 3D, open-ended gameplay. Super Mario Galaxy 2 includes a remake of Super Mario 64's Womp Fortress level called Throwback Galaxy. Super Mario 3D Land and Super Mario 3D World are departures from the open-ended design instead of focusing on platforming reminiscent of the 2D games. The Nintendo Switch game Super Mario Odyssey returns to Super Mario 64's open design. It includes numerous references to the latter. The Mario 64 suit and Mario 64 cap, which change Mario's appearance to his in Super Mario 64, can be purchased after completing the main storyline. Additionally, Mario can travel to the Mushroom Kingdom, which includes Princess Peach's castle and its courtyard. The kingdom's power moons resemble Super Mario 64's power stars. Rumors spread rapidly after the game's release. The most popular was a pervasive rumor that Luigi existed as an unlockable character. In 1996, IGN offered a prize of $100 if a player could find Luigi, but to no avail. Fueling the rumor was a very blurry message on a statue in the courtyard of Princess Peach's castle, thought to say "L is real" 2401. This was disproved in 1998 when a fan received a letter from Nintendo that the programmers included the text as a joke, and it was not supposed to say anything. In July of 2020, 24 years later and 1 month after the initial release of Super Mario 64, unused assets for Luigi from the scrapped multiplayer mode were discovered in the game's development files. In an event known as the Nintendo GigaLeak. Satirical conspiracy theories about the game became popular in 2020 and were grouped into the Super Mario 64 iceberg, an internet meme of an iceberg with the less likely theories representing places closer to the bottom of the ocean. One popular rumor involves a Wario apparition based on an E3 1996 presentation with Charles Martinet voicing a disembodied Wario head. Some fans believed that the Wario head remained in some copies of the game. Conspiracy theorists also spread the rumor that every copy of Super Mario 64 is personalized, claiming that certain bizarre phenomena exist in only certain copies of the game. In the years since the game's release, players have used glitches to reach previously unreachable parts of the game, including, in 2014, a coin not possible to be collected in ordinary play. Speedrun techniques include the Lakitu skip, a glitch that disables a dialog box explaining camera movement, the Bob-omb clip, which uses a glitch in a Bob-omb's explosion animation to clip through walls, and the backwards long jump glitch, which involves the player performing a repetitive move, the backwards long jump, allowing Mario to reach the very high speed values, and has numerous applications in speedrunning. The latter was patched in the 1997 Shindu re-release, the Rumble Pack version. The Super Mario 3D All-Stars re-release was also patched this, and it was based on the Shindo version. In 2013, YouTuber Vinesauce posted a compilation of various corruptions of the game, replicating with a program named Naughty. Another YouTuber, Panacoic 2012, I'm 100% sure I said that wrong, I apologize, creates highly technical and analytical videos of Super Mario 64 glitches and mechanics, which have been covered many times by the video game press. The game has also inspired challenges that attempt to beat it within certain restrictions, such as not being able to press the A button, requiring deep understanding about the game's mechanics and bugs. In May 2024, a player named Marbler managed to beat the entire game without pressing the A button. In 2013, a study was conducted to see the plasticity effects on the human brain after playing Super Mario 64. Chosen for its navigation element and the ability to play in a three-dimensional environment for at least 30 minutes every day for 2 months. The study concluded that doing the previously mentioned activity caused the gray matter, a major part of the central nervous system, to increase in the right hippocampal formation and the right dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, brain areas that are thought to contribute to spatial navigation, working memory, and motor planning. The following is a story given on pages 4 and 5 of the Super Mario 64 instruction booklet. This section is going to be mostly written dialogue for certain characters. Okay, so here we go. Mario, please come to the castle. I've baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool. Wow, an invitation from Peach. I'll head out right away. I hope she can wait for me. Mario is so excited to receive the information from the princess, who lives in the Mushroom Castle, that he quickly dresses in his best and leaves right away. Something's not quite right here. It's so quiet. Shaking off his uneasy premonition, Mario steps into the silent castle, where he is greeted by the gruff words, "No one's home. Now scram! Blah ha ha ha." The sound seems to come from everywhere. Who's there? I've heard that voice somewhere before. Mario begins searching all over the castle. Most of the doors are locked, but finding one open, he peeks inside. Hanging on the wall is the largest painting he has ever seen, and from behind the painting comes the strangest sound he has ever heard. I think I hear someone calling. What secrets does this painting hold? Without a second thought, Mario jumps at the painting. As he is drawn into it, another world opens before his very eyes. And so begins the grandest of all adventures. Once inside the painting, Mario finds himself in the midst of battling Bob-ombs. According to the Bob-omb buddies, someone or something has suddenly attacked the castle and stolen the Power Stars. These stars protect the castle. With the stars in his control, the Beast plans to take over the Mushroom Castle. To help him accomplish this, he plans to convert the residents of the painting world into monsters as well. If nothing is done, all those monsters will soon begin to overflow from inside the painting. A plan this maniacal, this cunning, must be the work of Bowser. Princess Toadstool and Toad are missing too. Bowser must have taken them and sealed them inside the painting. Unless Mario recovers the Power Stars immediately, the inhabitants of this world will become Bowser's army. Well, Bowser's not going to get away with it. Not as long as I'm around. Stolen Power Stars are hidden throughout the painting world. Use your wisdom and strength to recover the Power Stars and restore peace to the Mushroom Castle. Mario, you're the only one we can count on. The gameplay. The player controls Mario. In addition to his jump and basic punch string, Mario's repertoire includes a variety of advanced acrobatic moves. Many of them are carried over from the 1994 game Donkey Kong, accomplished through precise timing and various combinations of the analog stick and the jump button, such as the somersaulting triple jump and the low but far-ranged long jump. Axing the Super Mario to Small Mario mechanic found in most of the previous mainline games, Mario 64 employs an 8-sided health meter called the Power Meter, which is depleted when Mario makes contact with enemies or obstacles, and is replenished by collecting coins, running through spinning hearts, or submerging Mario in a body of water. Like the previous games, Mario 64 employs a life system, although as the game saves after most progression tasks, the effect of a game over is marginal. When the player starts a game, Mario starts off outside the Mushroom Castle, a multi-floor hub mostly devoid of enemies and obstacles. Inside the castle are multiple rooms with paintings and other surfaces concealing portals to the game's various courses. The main goal of the game is to collect the Power Stars. There are a total of 120 Power Stars in the game, though only 70 need to be collected in order to complete the game. The Power Stars are split between the 15 main courses, 9 secret courses that are smaller and usually contain only 1 or 2 stars, and various secrets inside the Mushroom Castle. The main courses contain 6 numbered missions, each plus a hidden Power Star for collecting 100 coins. Only a limited portion of the castle is explorable at first, but as Mario collects more stars, he is able to open more rooms and unlock Bowser levels. Defeating Bowser in his first 2 levels opens the castle's basement and top floor, respectively. The game employs a mission-based structure. When the player enters a main course, a screen shows them the stars that they have collected and the newest mission unlocked. each having a title hinting at the tasks for the mission. Missions are very widely in nature, ranging from defeating enemies to reaching a point of interest on the map to racing friendly characters, though every course features a mission that requires collecting 8 red coins scattered throughout the map. Accomplishing a mission rewards the player with a power star. Collecting it boots Mario back to the room that he came from, although collecting 100 coin stars allows him to stay on the map. The 15 main courses consist of large open worlds with many points of interest and paths, and as such, many of the missions can be completed out of order. Some missions, however, can be completed only by selecting a specific scenario from the course selection screen, as to prompt the appearance or disappearance of a character or object needed to complete the task. The courses feature various enemies who chase or attack Mario on sight. Most enemies can be defeated by kicking, punching, or jumping on them, and leave coins when defeated. Some missions also require Mario to defeat a specific type of enemy. Multiple missions involve fighting a large boss, whose defeat usually involves a puzzle or more advanced maneuvering than standard enemies. Not all characters Mario can encounter are hostile, however. Friendly NPCs, or non-player characters, include toads sealed inside the castle's walls, who will give hints or a backstory when spoken to, and sometimes they'll even give him a power star. Bob-omb buddies who give clearance to use a cannon on the course, and mission-specific characters who challenge Mario to a race or ask him to fetch an object in exchange for a power star. Various power-ups can help Mario on his adventure. Koopa shells can be ridden on land, water, lava, or quicksand to provide temporary invincibility, and by hitting cap switches found in the secret courses, Mario can activate blocks containing the Wing Cap, Vanish Cap, and Metal Cap, whose powers are necessary to complete many of the missions. As the game is a showcase title for a new console, and the first 3D Super Mario game, many aspects of the game showcase the Nintendo 64's features. Multiple sections take advantage of the analog stick's precision, requiring Mario to walk slowly over narrow passageways or tiptoe to sneak up on enemies. Some bridges and platforms sway under Mario's weight. Super Mario 64 takes place within the walls of the Mushroom Castle in the Mushroom Kingdom. It is the first Super Mario game to explicitly include the Mushroom Kingdom as a location since Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. The game's levels, called courses, are accessed through paintings hung on the walls, but some are more cryptically hidden or require the player to accomplish a task in the castle before becoming accessible. Unlike previous games, the courses are not naturally occurring places. They are painting worlds that Bowser has corrupted and modified to his liking using the stolen power stars. He has turned some of the inhabitants into monsters, and there apparently is concern that his creations will escape the boundaries of the paintings and enter the real world. Some paratextual material and subsequent titles present the courses introduced in this game as visitable places outside of the paintings. Generally, a course is a sprawling location with interactive environmental elements and several levels of elevation. Courses often have sub-areas and collectibles obscured in the landscape that passively encourage the player to rotate the camera and explore. Most courses feature prominent landmarks, such as the mountain on Bob-omb's battlefield and the volcano in Lethal Lava Land, that provide the player with a constant point of reference that mitigates their chance of getting lost. Like its more immediate predecessors, courses are themed after real-life ecosystems, like deserts, mountains, and seas, and more fantastical settings, such as haunted houses, clock towers, rainbow roads in the sky, things of that nature. The theme informs the types of objects that can be interacted with in the level, the types of enemies that can be encountered, and the non playable characters that can be spoken to. For example, cactus enemies, a condor, and quicksand are in the desert themed Shifting Sand Land. Penguins, slippery ice, and deep snow appear on Cool Cool Mountain and Snowman's Land. Most courses contain switches and strikeable objects that modify elements of the course, such as the crystal taps in Wet Dry World. Unlike the levels of prior two-dimensional entries, the courses in this game are open-ended and largely do not funnel the player toward one goal. This was an intentional departure from the level design principles of prior games because of the development team did not believe that they could be replicated for a fun experience in a three-dimensional environment. Director and series creator Shigeru Miyamoto wanted Super Mario 64 to be a game where players can create their own vision, a decision partially influenced by the technical difficulty of making a precise jump in a 3D environment. This mindset manifested in levels where players were largely free to interact with the world in ways they wanted to, with larger platforms and sprawling spaces that encouraged exploration rather than carry out precise actions to reach a goal. The courses themselves were created using Hakaniwa. I think that's how you say that. Okay. Or box garden design principles. A Hakaniwa is an intricately arranged miniature garden within an enclosed space with layers of depth and detail that become apparent to an onlooker when carefully examined. Applying these principles allowed the development team to create complex levels that surprise players, another important tenet during development. In the West, where creating miniature gardens is not as culturally prevalent, these types of levels are most often likened to sandboxes. Most of the courses are accessed through the paintings inside the Mushroom Castle, the hub world of the game. The surface of a painting ripples like water when Mario is near, and he is brought into the course it represents by physically jumping through it. Accessing levels in this manner is a departure from the overworld system in previous platform games. However, the castle is divided into several sections that are analogous to the world structure of preceding games, where multiple levels are available to the player on a single section, and the player must complete a boss-dedicated course in order to gain access to the next one. As Mario advances through the castle, he encounters some courses that are accessed through portals other than paintings, such as the Shifting Sand Land, which is accessed through what looks like a brick wall at a dead end in the basement, and Tick-Tock Clock, which is entered through a clock face. The locations of courses on subsequent sections are generally more complex and are puzzles in themselves, such as the painting for Snowman's Land that is viewable only through a mirror. Rather than present a unilateral scenario that leads to a single spatially fixed goal, most courses in the game host multiple objectives called missions that each have a goal in a different location from each other. For most courses, entering a painting brings the player to a mission selection screen where selecting one sends Mario to the course within the confines of the mission-specific scenario and its unique goal. In nearly all courses, this goal is a Power Star, a collectible token resembling a superstar from previous entries. Touching one completes the level and returns Mario to the castle. The number of Power Stars collected is tracked by the game and communicated to the player on the user interface in the upper right corner of the screen. Accumulating some star doors, that are they seal away certain paintings, and they're only opened after Mario has collected a specific number of stars. Mario can access a new section only after clearing the current one's Bowser course, itself becoming accessible only after a specific number of power stars has been obtained. However, there are 120 obtainable power stars in a game that only requires 70 to access the final level. The player has some discretion on how many or which ones are obtained to finish the game, as well as the order. In most courses, one mission correlates with one power star, and its name on the mission selection screen hints at the power star's location in the course. However, some power stars can be encountered outside of their dedicated missions and collected. Some mission-dedicated power stars become available to the player only once they have cleared specific missions. A foot race with the Koopa the Quick becomes available only after Big Bob-omb on the summit has been completed, or accomplish tasks outside of the paintings, like striking the cap switch in the Cavern of the Metal Cap makes the titular power-up accessible through the jet stream, in which it is not optional. So you only obtain that after you hit the power-up. Certain actions completed within a course permanently change elements within it regardless of the mission subsequently played. Recurring examples are the cannons found in most courses, which Mario can enter and launch from to reach distant areas. A cannon becomes usable in a course after Mario has spoken to a Bob-omb buddy, a friendly, non-playable character that controls the cannons, and it remains accessible for all subsequent revisits. Like in Mario World 2, Yoshi's Land, and a departure from previous Super Mario games, there is no time limit in effect within the courses, but there are a few cases where there is one. For example, blue coins appear only for a brief period of time once a blue coin block is struck, and Mario must outrun Koopa the Quick in order to earn a power star. All power-ups in this game change Mario's form for a limited time, and one cannot be brought outside a course even if he completes it while still under its effect. Another similarity to Yoshi's Island. There are two different types of courses in Super Mario 64: main courses and mini courses. Main courses contain 6 dedicated missions and an unlisted 100 coin mission. Some of the dedicated missions build off of each other environmentally or narratively. This means the events that transpire in the completion of one mission are reflected in the events of the next missions. However, some power stars can be encountered before the mission-dedicated one and can be collected, resulting in some instances where the stars are obtained out of an intended order. These courses are the most intricate levels of the game. Most include objects that can enable quick traversal between areas, such as cannons and warp points. Some courses include accessible sub-areas, such as the volcano in Lethal Lava Land and the pyramid in Shifting Sand Land. There are 15 normal courses in the game, and they are the only levels explicitly numbered and listed in the pause menu. Mini-courses are smaller and structured more like traditional obstacle courses that emphasize precise platforming. They lack dedicated missions to select, and most contain only one power star. Power stars obtained in mini-courses are counted together as secret stars on the pause menu. Mini-courses can further be classified into 3 subtypes: the Bowser courses, secret courses, and switch cap courses. Bowser courses lead to an area in where Mario must defeat Bowser. Each Bowser course features a power star obtained by collecting 8 red coins, but this does not complete the level. In the first two courses, defeating Bowser awards Mario a key and a different kind of token that completes the level when touched. The key is used to permanently unlock the key door to another section of the castle. In Bowser in the Sky, the final course, defeating Bowser releases the Jumbo Star. Collecting it does not contribute to the player's Power Star total, instead, frees Princess Peach. There are 3 Bowser courses in the whole game, one for each section. Secret courses. There are typically these secret courses hidden in the castle. All secret courses have at least 1 Power Star to collect, with the sole exception being the Princess's Secret Slide, which has 2. None of these courses are accessed through paintings, and they often require the player to investigate a space within the castle to find. There are 3 in the game. Switch cap courses are where Mario is under the effect of a power-up immediately upon entering a course and is needed to reach the cap switch. When one is stood on, it activates and causes the power-up to permanently become accessible within the normal courses. They are analogous to the Switch Palaces in Super Mario World, though unlike in them, striking the switch does not make Mario exit the course. These are the only courses in the game where Mario can fall down a pit without losing a life. He is instead brought back to the castle. The Mushroom Castle is a connective space from which Mario can access the game's levels. It is a white bricked palace with a red tiled roof. 5 towers are built into the castle, 4 at each corner and a large one in the center. Each one is topped with a spire, and the 4 outermost ones are also topped with a red pennant. A stained glass portrait of Princess Peach is above the front doors, in which Peach has been imprisoned by Bowser. The small windows on this castle are shaped like mushrooms. The Mushroom Castle overall bears a superficial resemblance to a keep. It is framed as the place where Peach lives in the Mushroom Kingdom and usually contains power stars for protection. Several toads, the princess's subjects, also live in the castle. In the majority of prior platform games, the player selects levels on a map-like menu with a cursor. The cursor itself may be represented by the player character, as is done in Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, and Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. But the degree of control the player has on the cursor is more limited than they would have in the actual levels. Super Mario 64 instead has a fully interactive level as the map, where Mario controls exactly the same as he does in the courses, and the map itself is an expansive level with its own secrets to find. The castle grounds are the first area in the game where the player takes control of Mario, and it is a risk-free environment for the player to familiarize themselves with his controls. There are no enemies here, nor concrete objectives. While the player is directed to the castle in Peach's letter to Mario, nothing forces them to enter it, implicitly encouraging them to explore. The castle grounds are a grassy area with gently sloping hills, trees, picket fences, and a small lake that feeds into the castle's moat. Several readable signs that detail Mario's available actions are near his starting position, but they are not forced upon the player. The castle's interior is divided into 3 sections analogous to the worlds of the prior Super Mario games: a first-floor mezzanine, a basement and courtyard, and a second and third floor that leads to the central tower. With the exception of the basement, the castle's flooring has a checkerboard pattern and red carpeting. A hilly vista with a blue sky behind it is painted on the walls. The basement is a flooded dungeon-like area lit by torches that can burn Mario. One of the basement's corridors has a pair of brick pillars that, when ground pounded, Drain the moat. The courtyard is a grassy space behind the mushroom castle with a fountain at its center. It is filled with booze, one of which contains a miniature carousel that holds Big Boo's haunt. Among the courses of a section, Mario can typically play them in any order. There are some exceptions, such as at the start of the game when only the Bob-omb battlefield is initially accessible. Rather than list them individually on a pause menu, all power stars collected from the mini-courses are collectively listed as the castle's secret stars. And indeed, most of them are well hidden when compared to the main courses in the game. Finding them necessitates exploration and puzzle solving within the castle's walls. For example, the only way to access Vanish Cap under the moat is by draining the moat, the means of which are never explicitly communicated in-game but instead come from familiarity with Mario's moves. The window that leads to the princess's secret slide is not in the center of its room, departing from what is established in the other rooms that contain paintings and can be found only if the player deviates from what is established. This design principle permeates throughout the castle and often rewards the player one-up mushrooms, hidden courses, or interactable elements. As the main courses, several non-playable characters appear in the Mushroom Castle. Toads, including the Toad, named character, can be found on each floor, where they provide gameplay tips and words of encouragement when prompted. Some of them will give Mario a power star when spoken to. Mips can be found hopping around the basement once Mario has obtained a certain number of power stars. He will give Mario one if caught. Yoshi appears on the castle's roof after Mario has collected all 120 stars. Mario can reach him with a cannon that opens on the castle grounds after completing Bowser in the sky with all 120 stars collected. The question mark block, also known as a mystery block, prize block, or question block, is a type of block in the Mario franchise. Since their first appearance in Super Mario Bros., the question mark blocks have become one of the most common blocks in the series along with the brick blocks. Question mark blocks are sometimes used as a symbol representing the Mario franchise. A question mark block is a yellow block depicting a question mark. A question mark block and its question mark symbol is based on the fact that they can contain one of several items. Upon being hit, the question block releases a specific item, most often a coin, but several can also release a power-up item, such as a super mushroom, and turns into an empty block afterwards. If Mario or another playable character is in their super form, the question mark block that would yield a super mushroom instead yields a different type of power-up, such as fire flower or a super leaf, depending on both the game and level. As with other blocks, a character can also stand on a question mark block as a platform. Hitting a question mark block requires Mario or another character to either jump from below or throw a Koopa shell at it. The former method is a lot more common, although the latter is required if a question mark block is on the ground, given that most of them appear in midair. In certain games, ground pounding into a question mark block is another way of hitting it, and this results in the item emerging from below. Question mark blocks with more than one coin are named coin blocks, and invisible ones are named hidden blocks. Now, I did not play Super Mario 64 a whole lot when it was originally released. My cousin had an N64, while the latest console I had at the time was the original Nintendo Entertainment System and a Sega Genesis. So anytime I would go over to babysit my cousins, If I wasn't playing with them, I would wait until they went to sleep and then I would try and play a little bit. But even then, I was mostly playing Turok. I do remember having a difficult time with Super Mario 64 with the camera and not really knowing what to do or where to go. My cousins didn't keep the game manual handy, and at that time, they would give you a lot of good information written in the manuals. So, this is really my first time just sitting down and trying to play Super Mario 64 to beat the game. I can say after playing the N64 version that the Lakitu camera is still the most unbeatable enemy in the game. He was fighting with me around every turn, especially when I was trying to do particular moves. It was very hard for me to see where I needed to land a kick or a hit. And this is even more so now that I've grown accustomed to newer games and how smoothly cameras operate, and you can get it to move and view any specific angle you want, essentially. And it definitely, going back and playing this, definitely makes me appreciate how technology in gaming has advanced. My total build time today was 5 hours, 11 minutes, and 17 seconds. During my time, I was able to get 48 stars out of the 70 required to open the final Bowser door. If you enjoyed this comparison video and want to play the game, Nintendo did release an update port for the Switch, but it was a limited release, and it does include some quality of life upgrades. The version I played for this video was the original Nintendo 64 version. Remember to like, subscribe, ring that bell, all the things for the YouTubes. Bye!